March is known for the end of winter and the arrival of springtime, a season of warmth and renewal. For history buffs, it's also known for the date Julius Caesar met his last. But don't let time pass you by like a bunch of old Romans. Hello again, SA here. And I'm just here to remind you to get your copy of my book series, Glitch. It's available on Barnes & Noble and other fine bookstores, as well as Amazon. The links are down below in the description. And while you're out enjoying the spring weather, you can also indulge in my story of a kidnapped teen model and a reluctant jewel thief who are on the run from the law. Yeah, you don't have to guess. I still have other books coming down the pike. So as long as I don't run into any difficulties. You'll be seeing those books too, I'm sure. Now let's get back to the video. Hello again, SA here. As we all know, Jeffrey Epstein was a controversial figure. Indeed, you could say that he was the man who knew too much, which probably explains why he's dead. Now, of course, anyone who's familiar with the original story, that Hitchcock film, knows why the catalyst of the story was killed. Apparently, he knew something about a political assassination, and that's why he had to die. In the case of Jeffrey Epstein, he had a list of names of very important people, powerful people, people who would likely kill to keep their names hidden. And thus, after Epstein's unfortunate death, that list has not been seen by the public, and in all likelihood will never be seen by the public. Because these people, powerful people, let's just say they know people who know people, and they know how to keep their secrets buried. But this video is not about Epstein. This video is about Sean Puff Daddy Combs. Now, of course, some of you out there will say, oh, he calls himself P. Diddy now. Well, believe me, I remember him back from the 90s, and he was calling himself Puff Daddy back then. So I'm calling him Puff Daddy. So sue me. Well, it appears that old Sean has got himself in a bit of trouble. And indeed, any of you who've been watching the news knows what that trouble is. Or do we? Because you could say that Sean Combs has always been a magnet for trouble. Indeed, if you look at his background, he was born into trouble. Because people may not know this, but his father, Melvin, was a close associate of, are you ready now? Frank Lucas. And you say, who's Frank Lucas? Well, anyone who ever saw the Denzel film, American Gangster? Pretty good film, you should watch it sometime. But anyway, that film was about the drug trade in New York back in the 70s. The heroin trade. And believe me, multiple stories have been written about that. Indeed, the first time I heard about those stories was from an old episode of Magnum PI. And you say, what? That show? Yeah. Because what was going on was Frank Lucas, he made a deal with the Golden Triangle to smuggle heroin to the United States. And remember, this was back during the Vietnam War. And he was having the heroin smuggled in the zinc coffins of dead American soldiers. And since at the time, believe me, I looked this up, over 100 Americans were being killed a day in Vietnam. Well, that's a lot of zinc coffins. And there you go. And in the case of Sean's father, Melvin Combs, are you ready now? He was in the Air Force at that time when he was working for Frank Lucas. And then you say, oh, yeah, that's right. Melvin Combs was clearly one of the people who was putting the dope in those damn zinc coffins that are being transported to the United States, where old Frank was taking them out and then selling on the streets of New York. So there you go. Well, anyway, in the case of Sean Combs, he never knew his father because his father was murdered in 1971 when Sean was still a little kid. So there you go. But anyway, even though he never knew his father, yeah, Sean, he was a let's just say he was a magnet for trouble. Indeed. Anyone who is familiar with Puff Daddy's exploits back in the 90s probably remembers what happened back when he got into oh my God, it was nuts. 'Cause I remember that story. It was all over the TV news, where he got into a big argument with Suge Knight. And anyone who knows Suge Knight knows that guy is someone you do not mess with. Because anyone who remembers those days remembers Death Row Records. And believe me, that name is apropos. Because half the people who were in that outfit were all criminals or ex-convicts. Yeah, bad news all the way around. And what happened was that, for those of you who were uninitiated, Puff Daddy and Suge Knight got into an argument. In fact, people refer to it in the aftermath as the East Coast-West Coast rivalry. And it resulted in the death of Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur. And then you say, wait, why'd those two guys get killed? Simple. Because at the time, Tupac was the premier singer for Suge Knight's and Death Row Records. And in the meantime, Notorious B.I.G., he was the damn premier singer for Puff Daddy's label, which was called Bad Boy Records. So there you go. And would you believe that case has not been solved to this day? Because you talk to the people downtown at LAPD, because, that's where Notorious B.I.G. got killed, here in L.A. And then you talk to Las Vegas Metro, where Tupac was killed. They'll tell you. The case is officially still open because nobody in either party has talked to the PD. No one. They just zip. They kept their mouths shut. I mean, it's like the omerta, for those of you who are familiar with organized crime. Well, now we jump to the present day, and oh my goodness, is Puff Daddy in a lot of trouble now? Because according to the damn TV news, it appears that the federal government has put an eye on old Sean Combs. And no, it's not because of what happened back in the 90s. No, 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 no. It appears that the feds are looking at him for a series of what do you call sex parties? Except apparently they weren't just sex parties. No, apparently it's a lot more complicated than that. Indeed, according to the computer, they said it all started last year when a woman alleged that Combs had raped her back in 2003 when she was 17, and that supposedly this thing was collaborated by other people who used to hang out with Puff Daddy. And then it got worse. And then it said that sometime earlier this year, a guy known by Rodney Jones, aka Little Rod, he then filed a lawsuit against Puff Daddy, claiming that Puff Daddy had a habit of drugging and assaulting women. And we're not just talking about these, groupies, as you say back in the old days. No, 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 no. We're talking about across the board. We're talking about potential singing artists. We're talking about sex workers. We're talking about just poor girls who just want to hang out and party. They said that Puff Daddy and his crew had a habit of drugging these women and raping them. Now, some of you are probably saying, man, that sounds like damn Bill Cosby stuff. Yeah, and look what happened to Bill Cosby. Well, apparently all of these damn reports reached the critical mass, and now within the last 24 hours we have both Homeland Security as well as the FBI kicking in the doors of Puff Daddy's various mansions all over the country right now. No joke. And where's Puff Daddy? Well, that's a very good question, because according to, depending on who you ask, he's either in Barbados, he's either in Miami, or he's probably on his way to some non-extradition country, if you know what I mean. But yeah, they said that the Southern District of New York actually issued a search warrant for all his properties. And what are they looking for? Now, this is the part you're going to love. Are you ready? Apparently, all these sex parties where all these girls were being raped and drugged was recorded. And you say, wait, recorded? Yeah. Crazy, right? I mean, if you're committing a felony, why would you want a recording of it? And now, this is where it gets into Epstein territory. Are you ready? Now, I'm going to show you a video. It's from Jesse Waters' program. And have to admit, Jesse Waters, he's definitely got some good, let's just say, sources. Now, this segment's a little long, so don't sweat it. Okay, are you ready? Here we go.
Waves reverberating through the music industry after federal agents raided the LA and Miami homes of billionaire hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs. Homeland Security conducted the armed raid in an alleged sex trafficking operation. TMZ later capturing Diddy pacing around a private Miami airstrip. Diddy wasn't arrested, but his phones were seized. And there's speculation tonight that he's fled the country. We can't confirm it. Just breaking tonight, though, Diddy's attorneys putting out a statement saying, quote, there is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities. This unprecedented ambush, paired with advanced coordinated media presence, leads to a premature rush to judgment of Mr. Combs and is nothing more than a witch hunt. We believe the raid was triggered by a litany of lawsuits, including from his own ex, alleging abuse, rape, and sex trafficking. Diddy settled that one, but then, 2 months ago, his former producer, Rodney Lil Rod Jones, filed an explosive lawsuit containing disturbingly graphic and disgusting details that not only implicate Diddy, but aim straight at the heart of the music industry. An elaborate racketeering, blackmail, and sex trafficking scheme that his lawyers compare to Jeffrey Epstein's. Now, for over a year, Lil Rod had unfettered access to Diddy's world, his homes, his planes, and his parties, where he claims he witnessed mountains of narcotics, illegal firearms, laced drinks, sex workers, and underage boys and girls. The producer claims he was groped by Diddy, groomed, and forced into humiliating sexual performances. Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Coram, is said to have been the Ghislaine Maxwell to Sean Combs, allegedly ordering her assistants to keep Mr. Combs high off gummies, pills, cocaine, and ecstasy, and maintaining a steady stream of sex workers for her boss. Now, some of the women brought into Diddy's orbit were under the age of 16. That's according to the complaint. The lawsuit claims he required the sex workers and underage girls to sign NDAs prior to entering his parties and prior to being drugged and sex trafficked at these parties. Diddy allegedly forced all of the women to drink laced De Leon liquor, as well as laced Ciroc vodka and champagne. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said this.
Guys don't put those pills that they get to the girls in the champagne bottles because they popping them in front of. It's in the orange juice and it's in the cranberry juice. They didn't put the pills and the stuff in there, the roofies. Those girls who like the mixed drinks, they gonna pour their own sexual act because they don't understand it ain't in the bottles, it's in the juice. Those guys, they learn that and they put it to those girls who don't know no better.
Now, Diddy called these his freak-out parties. In attendance were celebrities, politicians, athletes, international dignitaries like British royalty, Prince Harry, and music label executives. Lil Rod claimed some of the biggest names in the recording industry sponsored these parties with sex workers, drugs, and underage girls. The CEO of Universal Music, Lucian Grange, is named as a defendant. So is the former CEO of Motown Records, Ethiopia, Habert Mariam, and others. Lil Rod says hidden cameras were in every room of Diddy's homes. Lil Rod believes that Mr. Combs possesses compromising footage of every person that has attended his freak-off parties and his house parties. Salacious tapes of Hollywood's biggest names, including record CEOs and politicians, doing drugs and cavorting with prostitutes and minors. The complaint argues that these freak-off parties were a business model. Young and up-and-coming talent attended and were promised career opportunities and access to music executives. They were then plied with drugs and alcohol, filmed. Some were blackmailed. There was a quid pro quo, according to the complaint. Lil Rod said not only were these music executives sponsoring these parties, they were handing Diddy large sums of cash that he used to pay for the sex workers and drugs. Something tells me the IRS is going to be interested. The suit claims the defendants funded the sex trafficking venture and participated in the recruitment of victims. Now, if this is true, this is so bad. Famous artists like Usher, at the age of 13, were whisked away to Diddy's Puffy Flavor Camp.
I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you
New
over
York
to something
City.
called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
You were 13. What were you
I
seeing?
went there to see the lifestyle.
Right.
And I saw it. And it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild. It was,
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Would you ever send your kid to Puffy Camp?
Hell no.
15-year-old Justin Bieber spent days with Diddy.
Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives. What we doing, we can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him, and we gonna go full, buck full crazy.
Going crazy.
Crazy.
I'm taking this out tonight.
What you want to do?
Let's just go get some girls. Let's go hang out with some girls.
A man after my heart. That's what I'm talking about, kid.
And we're not accusing Diddy of doing anything bad with Bieber, but Diddy's lifestyle was an open secret in the industry. People have been warning about this for years.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting the body. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you.
Now, Diddy operated like he was protected. Mr. Combs made it clear that his head of security, Fahim Muhammad, had the power to make people and problems disappear. Fahim Muhammad, Diddy's head of security, was the former head of security for Michael Jackson, who was also accused of sexual deviancy. Diddy's head of security is accused of paying off law enforcement. The lawsuit claims Diddy bragged about getting away with shooting people. Diddy and his girlfriend at the time, J-Lo, weren't charged for that New York City nightclub shooting involving rapper Shine. Another shooting that Lil Rod alleges he saw was a shooting inside of Diddy's own studio that left blood in the restroom, where Diddy instructed Lil Rod to lie to the police by telling them that the victim was shot standing outside the studio by a drive-by assailant. The lawsuit has photos of this stuff. And after hours of forensics and police inside the room, no charges. Lil Rod claims he saw Diddy distribute guns from his bedroom closet to questionable individuals dressed in all black. Diddy alluded to having law enforcement in his back pocket. Lil Rod said the defendants bragged about murdering people and bribing witnesses and jurors. Inside of Diddy's mind, the lawsuit says he believes he's above the law and is untouchable. But it looks like Diddy's world's collapsing. Now, what we don't know is how many people he'll take with him, and whether we'll ever see the evidence the feds seized from his homes.
All of these big deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. All lies will be exposed. That's all. In 30 years, I've done nothing but collect information, knowledge, and your secrets. So if you and a man was in a corner doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing, I know so many things I shouldn't know, and they all know it. They all know it.
Sex trafficking advocate Jaco Booyens joins us now. Jaco, your sister was trafficked in the music industry. What does this story tell you now?
Yeah, Jesse, thank you for having me on. Yes, my sister Ilanka, her story of trafficking started in the music industry. She was trafficked over a 6-year period by a record label executive. The industry is rife with this. There's a lot of cover-up because people are, as you so eloquently state, surreptitiously filmed. They are blackmailed. Remember, human trafficking's definition is the exploitation of persons through the mechanism of force, fraud, and coercion, all of them present in this case.
The CEO of Universal Records. I mean, Universal Records it's the biggest record place in the whole world almost. I mean, they have so much talent that they've signed, and he's named as a defendant. And we're not accusing him of anything. We're reading from the complaint, but he is accused of participating in acts, in sponsoring acts, in paying for acts. And how high does this go?
It does go all the way to the top, Jesse, and unfortunately also all the way to the bottom. Remember, this is a crime that's fueled by demand, and the demand for sex trafficking in this country is out of control. But you talk about Universal. Remember, Universal has multiple labels underneath Universal, and something that's very interesting that's going to unravel here is when you start looking at the management companies that manage clusters of these artists. They work in groups. They ring fence themselves. They protect themselves. As Cat Williams so eloquently says, they have blackmail power on everybody. If you show up, whether you had good intentions or not, and you're at the party and there's minors in sexual activity, you're filmed, you get a knock on the door in the morning, and they tell you to hush hush, particularly politicians and executives.
Yeah, politicians, executives, athletes, a lot of up-and-coming musical talent. Do you see any similarities between the Epstein situation and this? Because Epstein was mentioned in this complaint.
A lot of similarities. The difference here is we're going to a place now where we never went with Harvey Weinstein. In the Weinstein case, you did not have as many people exposed and implicated. Epstein did a great job in protecting his world, and those in his world, albeit celebrity, they were not necessarily entertainers. They were people of stature in the financial services industry, politicians, people of power. Here you've got people in the entertainment business who normally have loose lips. And once they start talking, now it's going to get interesting to see which other artists come out. Some of the artists you've already mentioned tonight, how they're going to talk, their handlers, their managers, their personal assistants, because people always see Jesse. We've known this about Diddy for decades. People see, they just haven't been talking, and now they're talking.
Yeah. Well, a lot of money going to law enforcement to pay them off, according to the complaint, which I just don't get when you hear about underage women being sex trafficked. It's just hellacious. Jaco, thanks so much, and keep up the fight.
Thank you, Jesse.
Well,
Okay, you saw that, right? Now at this point you say, oh my God, this guy, he was basically Epstein 2.0. Yeah. The only difference is he wasn't blackmailing people in government. You know, remember the damn was it the Duke of York? Yeah, remember that guy? Yeah. Or how about Bill Clinton? Remember him? Yeah. Yeah, apparently he was basically blackmailing people in the music industry, in the entertainment industry. I mean, good grief. The guy over at Universal Music Group and the woman that runs Motown Records, I mean, like, what the fuck? I mean, why you need to blackmail them for? I mean, I think they probably would be more than happy to have a contract. We don't have to, like, you know, catch them with their pants down around their ankles doing something weird. But yeah, if you were paying attention to that segment, yeah, the guy was just going crazy. But the fact that the guy recorded everything, I mean, that's just dumb. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, look what happened to Epstein. Man, you don't do stuff like that and then record it, okay? I mean, you just don't do that. Because eventually, let's just say this, it's not going to work out for you. Because it gives people a motive to want you dead. No joke. Now, of course, right now you're probably thinking, yeah, but it's mostly people in the music industry he was blackmailing. Are we sure about that? Because remember, Puff Daddy, he briefly got involved in politics. I mean, he did endorse Barack Hussein Obama and, wait for it, ready, Joe Biden. And I'm pretty certain that when the damn Democrats came a-calling to Hollywood, he was probably in the room with all those other Hollywood types donating money. Can you spell cross-pollination? So how do we not know that some of these Democrats, probably maybe not Joe Biden, but someone a little bit more lower level inside the DNC were at some of these sex parties and that Sean Puff Daddy recorded? Yeah. And indeed, more than a few people believe that the reason why the damn Southern District of New York issued those search warrants is because they're looking for those videos. Makes you wonder who's on them, huh? Yeah, you wouldn't see all those damn feds in their damn AMRAMs with all their body armor and their damn M4 carbines kicking in the door just because this music producer had some sex parties with a bunch of his homies. Nope. I'm thinking that even though Jesse Waters didn't mention it, but I'm thinking the reason why the feds are kicking in the door is because some Democrats, politicians, are on those videos. And of course, we know elections coming up, right? Now, of course, I know I said I don't think Joe Biden is on none of those videos. No, I don't think so. But think about it. What major politician who tends to hang out in Hollywood and who's a Democrat might be on one of those videos? I wonder who it could be. And no, I'm not thinking Gruesome Newsom up there in Sacramento. No. He usually hangs out with the Bay Area crowd. No, I'm thinking about someone who's in Congress, someone who's currently running for the United States Senate, someone who currently is the congressman for, are you ready? The congressional district that covers Hollywood, California. I wonder who that is. I think his name starts with A and ends with an S. Yeah, I think that's that. I think I know his name. It's quite on the tip of my tongue, but I can't quite say it. Yeah, I think that's what's going on. Apparently, someone was worried that that particular congressman might be on one of those videos, and someone is covering for him because they're worried that that video might come out before the election and thus they might not end up in the Senate. Yeah, that makes sense. The only question is what happens next. Because if Sean Combs turns himself in, is he going to end up in a jail cell with some really big, burly guys, and then wakes up the next morning with paw prints around his neck where his cellmate tried to strangle him? Or is he going to be on a cell block by himself, and then all of a sudden all the cameras on the cell block stop working, and then the guards are going to take a long coffee break, and then when they come back the next morning, they say, "Oh my God, Sean is hanging from inside his jail cell. I wonder how that happened." Yeah, that's a possibility. Because just as in that damn Hitchcock film, The Man Who Knew Too Much, he didn't make it to the end credits of the film. And if there are some people from the DNC on some of those damn videos, let's just say this. Sean Combs, it might be great for his health that he stays away from any jail cells in a federal lockup, at least not until after the election. Just saying. Well, that's all I'm going to say about Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, and his problems. And that's my opinion.